Hello, Science Alliance. Hello, I am Lara. You are the Science Alliance. Hello to everyone watching on Catch Up, who isn't watching right now as I speak. I never say hello to you, and I really appreciate it. If it weren't for you, this whole YouTube channel would not exist. The only reason this is here is so that people can watch on Catch Up. But who are watching live, I know, is Grace and Rose. Hello. And Tiger and Bird, because Bird just got a distinction in her dance exam. You get to see my distinguished dancing as celebration. Let's everyone do a dance in celebration of Bird getting a distinction in their dance exam. Come on, really feel it. Yeah! Well done! Hopefully yours is a bit more structured than that. Who else is watching? I know. I've written it on the board. I made a quick note, and there's so many notes on this board. James, hello, James. I also did see that you were watching. Hello. Right, we're talking about migration, which is just living things moving around. Okay, I didn't look into plant migration. Oh my goodness, Google plant migration after this show to see if it's a thing. We're going to talk about animal migration. Animals moving around from hot places to cold countries and vice versa. We're going to look mainly at creatures that are arriving in this country where I am, Britain, in the springtime, because it is springtime. And then some of the more famous record-holding migrators. And then we're going to do like a story time. I'm not going to tell you what it's about, but it's very sad. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is this activity. It's not massively related to migration. I just really like doing it. But I reckon I can clag together. Oops. Storytime spoilers. Storytime spoilers. I think I can clag together a reason why this is vaguely related to migration. You need a 2p coin, or 1p, and 2 needles, or pins. Be really careful, because what you've got to do is pick up the coin using the pins. So obviously if you slip, you're pushing 2 pins towards each other. It's quite dangerous. You might get an adult to do this first. But you pick up the coin using the pins or the needles, and then you blow on it, and hopefully it'll spin. Look at that! Oh, well done for coming to the second lesson. That's so much better than happened on Facebook this morning. I'm going to do that again. Oh, so good! You can be doing that carefully while I'm doing this show on migration now for the rest of the time. It's great, isn't it? Why is that? How have I crowbarred that into a show about migration? Well, it is an exciting period of time in the year, right? So you know the sun. You know the sun, right? Star, yeah? Our local star. The Earth goes around the sun. Yeah, it goes around the sun in an elliptical shape, not a circle. So I asked you at the very beginning while you were waiting, how do seasons happen, right? Well, the Earth does get closer to the sun and further away from the sun. And some people think that when Earth is close to the sun, that's when it's hotter on the planet, and when it's further away, it's colder. No, you guys know. Earth's on a tilt, isn't it? It's tilted, like 23.5 degrees. So, well, that's space. Here we go. So when Earth is right over here on the edge of the ellipse, sorry, these pens are shocking, then it's actually tilted like this. So when the north is pointing towards the sun, that's when we get our summer in the north. And when the north is pointing away from the sun, so if you're in the south, this is very northern centric, but when north is pointing away from the sun, then we have winter. And when the north is pointing towards the sun, then we have summer. But just a couple of days ago, we got to the very middle. Here. Yay! Now, which direction is this pointing in? This is winter, and we're coming out of winter. Ta-da! So we're here now. Sorry if you're in the south. You've just got to the midpoint and you are heading towards winter. But us in the north, we've just got to it's called the equinox. Equal amounts of day and night at this point, and it's only going to get warmer from here on, folks. So this is the time when a lot of animals migrate, right? Animals that have been in the south for the summer, right? When the south is pointing towards the sun, it's been summer, so the animals have been here because it's warm. And then they're just starting to detect that it's starting to get a bit chilly in the south, and it's going to be warmer in the north, so they're moving up north. So yeah, I thought the first thing we do is to have a look at a couple of birds that are coming to the UK. Now, even if you're not in the UK, you can do this. I've made a game, clagged together an image from the internet of a bird sitting on a fence. I want you to imagine you're in a car and you're driving along and you see a bird on a fence at the corner of your eye. So I'm going to show you the bird whizzing past it fast like you're on a motorway, and imagine that you're shouting at the driver, slow down, slow down, I've seen a bird. I'm going to show you it again and again, slowing down. See if you can guess what the bird is. And ideally guess straight away, and then as it slows down, see if you change your guess or see if you stick with your guess. All right, you ready? Very pleased with this new Theatre Science feature. I've never done this before. I'm going to try and do this a lot more. Here we go. Thank you, Gail Hampshire, for making this dream a reality for me. So here's the fence. You're right. You're in your car. Car's going to set off. Are you ready? You ready? So this one's fast. Right. What was that bird? Just hazard a guess. And it's going to be quite fast again. See if you stick or see if you change your mind. 3, 2, 1. What's that bird? Let's do it again. Getting a little bit slower now. 3, 2, 1. Hard, isn't it? Are you going to stick with your guess? Or have you changed your mind now? It's like, I can't remember how many of these I did. I got right carried away. You ready? Card setting off. 3, 2, 1. So some people on Facebook were saying pigeon. Some people were saying peregrine. I have, as usual, got a Facebook post open, so if you're watching live, you can send your ideas in. I think I've done one more. You ready? What is this bird? Nobody got the answer, I should say. Neither of those answers are correct, and nobody got it. Have I done one more? Is this the answer? No, I've done another one. Amazing. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Super slow. I would have had zero idea. It's this guy. It's a cuckoo. I swear, look. I mean, no one was wrong, really, were they? A cuckoo clearly has the head of a pigeon on the body of a peregrine falcon. There. So, cuckoos live in Africa, like a lot of different countries in Africa. I think the Democratic Republic of the Congo, among other places, when it's cold in the north, like in the summer. And then they move, they're about to arrive in the UK for their summer. And I would have said that I've never seen a cuckoo before. And I think I've actually probably seen hundreds of cuckoos, and I've just been going pigeon, pigeon, pigeon. Yeah, so the males say cuckoo, cuckoo, which is how they get their name. The famous thing about cuckoos, which you probably know, is the amazing way in which they lay their eggs. So the female cuckoo will arrive in the UK very soon, find a nest that belongs to another bird, like maybe a dunnock. Dunnock's basically a kind of pointy sparrow, quite a small bird. So the female cuckoo gets rid, when the dunnocks aren't looking, gets rid of one of the eggs from the dunnock or various other birds' nests and lays her egg in the dunnock nest. And the cuckoo egg develops quite quickly, hatches first, and then the baby cuckoo, you probably know this, it kicks the other eggs out of the nest, or if the other chicks have been born, it just kicks the chicks out of the nest. And these little dunnock parents, they don't notice, or they don't mind, I don't know. And they carry on feeding the cuckoo chick, which in the end is quite quickly much bigger than they are. And then it flies away. So cuckoos are one of the first we get birds. Like, I didn't realise that over half of all bird species migrate, maybe just a bit or maybe a lot. But we get loads of birds coming to the UK for the warm summer and then leaving, and the cuckoo's one of the first to go because it doesn't have to raise its young. It doesn't have to wait until like the kids are ready to fly. It's just like plop, good luck dude, and then flies away. And then it's just amazing. I don't know how they do it, but when the chick is born, it never meets its parents, and it just knows intuitively when it's ready to fly that it just heads off to Africa, and then the whole thing starts again. I know. So a quick shout out. I've actually got quite into swifts and swallows, so I want to do a whole show on those. So I'm not going to tell you too much, but you can also look out for swifts in the UK. This is a very, very realistic picture of what you will see of a swift. There you go. Hope you're enjoying that. That's literally all you'll see. They never land, ever, except to nest. Oh, okay, fine. Here's one a bit closer up. They've got sort of pointy tails. You're going to get them confused with swallows, but I think I'll do a whole show on them later because I just think they're brilliant. But yeah, swifts, they don't land. They just glide around their tiny little bodies being kept up by the ocean breeze. They drink by just skimming along water. And yeah, if you see quite soon birds nesting in like the crevices of buildings, they make their nests with saliva, their own saliva, then that is a swift. And the other one, I didn't show this on Facebook, but I just discovered this and I'm kind of in love with it, is the willow warbler. Look at this little dude, it's teeny weeny. I mean, the inexperienced among us would just say, it looks like a bird. Well, it's got kind of a little yellow, what do you call that, chest. It's just gorgeous, I think. I hope they don't mind. The RSPB have got just a brilliant website where they can play you the different noises that all different birds make. And there's a map of when and where to see them as well. So I just wanted to show you this. I thought it was interesting. Look, this is when and where to see willow warblers. So the little key is, if it's green, it lives in the country. If it's yellow, it just comes there for the summer. Red is just passing through, and blue, it's there for the winter. And look at the willow warbler. Look, we have no willow warblers living in our country, so now is the time to start seeing them arrive. And they've also got, do you want to hear a willow warbler? I hope my entire page doesn't get shut down for this, but I just can't get enough of the RSPB's website where you can listen to the sounds of different birds. Here you go, because you might not recognise it, but see if you can remember this call. This is a willow warbler, it's just visiting. Ooh, it's a bit high pitched, isn't it? Shut up. I don't think I'm going to be able to tell the difference between that and a robin. But anyway, there you go. The cuckoos, by the way, we didn't really used to know where they went. And then the British I couldn't say it before and I can't say it now. The British Trust for Ornithology, I'm going to call them the BTO, tagged various cuckoos, and they've got a map now, and it's really helping us to understand cuckoos, because cuckoo numbers are on the decline. We don't know why. There aren't as many cuckoos as there used to be. We don't think that there's any problem with the whole, like, bird murder nest thing. We think that the chicks are hatching, but now we've got this data in from the BTO, we can see that they make different journeys, different cuckoos, and cuckoos that fly over Spain are less likely to survive than cuckoos that fly over Italy. I don't know, but this is a puzzle that scientists will solve eventually, I'm sure. So here we go, here's the different routes that the cuckoos make. It's kind of adorable. Look, they've got this little map, and if you click on one, then it tells you the name. So this is wild goose, and the last signal was received on the 6th of January 2023. So obviously they were in Africa in January. Here's Victor 2, I think, yeah. And they're now presumably heading this way. It is a bit sad because if you go down, they tag lots of other birds. But look there, Charles is presumed dead. Calypso, Bluey, presumed dead. Brutal. Sorry, this is a show for children. We should move on. All right, so that was the birds. Oh yeah, just pulling up my next picture to talk about the Arctic tern. Just before we leave birds, the Arctic tern is a record breaker. It travels the furthest distance of any... It travels the furthest distance of any migrating animal. Here's the Arctic tern. Gorgeous, isn't it? Its bright red beak and its black head. You can see this is the key. This is a map of various different birds migrating, and a lot of them travel for thousands of miles, but the Arctic tern definitely wins. Look, see, notice how it kind of sticks to the coast. It's this red line here, because they eat in quite shallow waters, so they don't travel across land. So yeah, the Arctic tern, basically, it just gets all its summers. So it summers in the south, when it's warm in the south, like it would be here. And then when it's winter in the south and it becomes summer in the north, it goes up to the Arctic. So it just goes from Antarctica to the Arctic, to Antarctica, to the Arctic, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Apparently it's not so much a temperature thing, because obviously they're both very cold places. It's more a light thing. So it's very difficult to find creatures and insects to eat when the place you are living is in permanent darkness. So they just follow the light, basically, do Arctic terns, and they can end up travelling. I've seen the number 30,000 miles is in a year. That's actually not enough. That's just if they went straight there, but they do like different journeys. So it's actually more like, I think maybe like 45,000 miles. It's like to the moon and back 3 times. It's unbelievable how far Arctic tern travels in their life. Here's a picture of one with a fish in its mouth, just because, I don't know, no reason. It was free. And here's a baby. All right, here's another thing. The spiny lobster. I think we've only got 2 more creatures to go and then it's story time. Yeah, if you ever wondered what you heard the word crayfish or crawfish, it's a spiny lobster technically, which is a lobster that doesn't have claws. I know, this is a new creature to me. So these lobsters, they live, I love how it all fits together, right? If you came to my home ed show on animal adaptions this week, like I just did it a few minutes ago, I poured water into a mug and onto a plate and said that the plate would cool down faster because it had a bigger surface area, right? So these spiny lobsters, they live in shallow water, which is nice and warm when it's sunny. They live all over the place, like Ireland, the Bahamas, I think New Zealand. They live in the shallow warm waters to lay their eggs, and then little baby lobsters grow up. And then when it starts to get cold, like when the autumn rains start to fall, they move into deeper water because deeper water giving off less heat energy, right? So in the wintertime, deep water is actually warmer. I know. So what they do is they all line up in a row. I don't have any photos to show you, but lots of people have seen this happen. The little lobsters, they go single file and they just walk into the dark, deep, now slightly warmer than the shallow water ocean. And the reason that they do this, it's like eggs getting incubated, right? The female has eggs and they develop better when it's warmer. So they march into the dark, warm waters for the eggs to develop, and then when summertime comes again, they go back into the shallow water and the eggs hatch, and then it's all over again. I just want to see this march of the lobsters, but yeah, I couldn't find, not even like an image that I couldn't show you, just so that I could see. Couldn't find one. Okay, so we got to move on to the like most famous migration by a mile. It is literally actually one of the wonders of the natural world, is the movement of the wildebeest in Tanzania and a little bit of Kenya as well in Africa. So I didn't realise that these wildebeest, they're on the move all the time. I have a map here. It's not great, but it's the best I could do. Okay, so here we are. We're in Africa. This is Tanzania here. And the wildebeest in January, well, they basically just kind of orbit the Serengeti plain. So they start roughly somewhere here in January. They move slightly down to this lake in February where they have the little baby wildebeests. And then they just travel back up again in this huge, big circle. Why do they do that? Well, apparently the weather system in that part of the world is quite complicated, but basically they're following the rains. So because there's a really big Lake Victoria and the way that the mountains are positioned, the rains kind of move around. So you get very dry areas where obviously they don't want to be because the grass won't grow and they need to eat grass. So they just eat vast amounts of grass. And then when that's all gone, they sort of move on and follow the rains in this huge big circle. When they get up north to where I think it's the Mara River, is like really gushing and flowing coming off that nature reserve, then a lot of them get into very serious trouble and die. But it's good. I'll tell you why it's good in a sec. First, just look at these pictures. Isn't that amazing? Look at that. It's a lot of wildebeest. And here is them coming into difficulty in the river. So huge amounts of water. So the reason this is actually not too much of a bad thing is that apparently it's incredibly valuable for the ecosystem. So it's like 6,500 wildebeest die in this huge river every year. But immediately their bodies are used, like crocodiles eat them, or other like huge flocks of like scavengers, like vultures eat them. But even long after they've gone, their bones, which are about half their biomass, they take about 7 years to biodegrade. So while they're biodegrading, it's basically like natural fertilizer. Loads of microbes eating their bones, and then those microbes, I think they end up feeding about 50% of the fish in that area. So like this whole ecosystem is just relying on the fact that wildebeest are going to die. And apparently it's okay because it's a really, really small percentage of the wildebeest. Like if you were going to preserve wildebeest, you wouldn't even be worried about this. The wildebeest have got loads of stuff to worry about that isn't drowning in the river. That bit's fine. I mean, not for every individual wildebeest. You know what I mean? Right. I think it's story time. The only other fact that I forgot to tell you that I really loved was that Arctic terns, apparently, obviously they're very noisy. There's like loads of them, birds. They're hanging around in like Antarctica, say. Apparently just before they do a migration, they all fall silent. And it's called, I mean, they don't call it this, but humans have called it dread. It's just this moment of dread where every bird's like, and then they all fly off together. Amazing. Okay, it's time for story time. Story time starts off fine and gently amusing as always, but it does become quite sad, actually, really sad. This is one of the saddest story times we've ever done. If you don't like thinking about animals being hunted, then you will not enjoy the story time. You should say, thanks, Lara, that was really interesting, bye. There's nothing graphic, like it's all Lego again. You're not going to see anything. It's just very sad, what I'm talking about. But yeah, on that note, let's do it. I feel like if anyone's got any good jokes for like after this, because on Facebook it's sort of a bit of a downer because I didn't have anything to say afterwards. But yeah, here we go. Millions of years ago, horses and woolly mammoths roamed and grazed together in harmony. And then 150,000 years ago, their troubles began. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, humans. But no, actually, no. This bit isn't about humans. What happened was, the mammoths and the horses, about 150,000 years ago, they lived on the Great Plains of America. And unfortunately for them, at this point, there was a strip of land between Asia and America called the Bering Land Bridge, and it was about to be used by an army of invading bison, otherwise known as buffalo. These buffalo visitors, they meant no harm, but they really liked it in America, and they adapted really well to their new environment. They were very competitive. They outcompeted all the other animals, and they evolved quickly and they changed, and eventually they became very much the sort of dominant herbivore of the area. They even survived the mass ice age extinction, where everything started to warm up a bit, and the other mammals that I've talked about died off. So in 1850, even 1850, that's only about 200 years ago. 30 to 60 million bison roamed the plains of North America. They would have been everywhere. And it wasn't that they weren't being hunted. Oh, no. Humans had been living on the plains with the buffalo for a very long time. And the plains people had many ingenious, actually, ways of killing the buffalo, which they couldn't survive without. In his 1805 journal, American explorer Meriwether Lewis, a European American, said that he was told that to kill the buffalo, a fit young man would dress in a buffalo skin and position himself between the herds and some cliffs. And then the rest of the community would surprise the herd from the back. And then the man had to sort of position himself very well and be near enough the buffalo so that when they started to run, they sort of followed his lead, and he led them over to some very steep cliffs where he would conceal himself in like a crevice in the cliff, but the buffalo would fall over the edge of the cliff. Meriwether Lewis adds, in case you hadn't noticed, that the job of the disguised man was apparently extremely dangerous. So the various cliffs that were used to kill buffalo in this way are called buffalo jumps, and there are many of them still in existence across the American plains and the Canadian prairies. The most outstanding one, according to UNESCO, it is on their World Heritage list, is this one. It's called Head Smashed In Buffalo Jump. I want you to think, please, for a second, if you were going to design the logo for Head Smashed In Buffalo Jump, what would you go with? Did you think of something like This, well done if you did. So, head smashed in buffalo jump was used by the indigenous people of the American plains and the Canadian plains for 6,000 years. The special kind of stones that they used to put there so that they could mark the place so they knew where to herd the buffalo to can still be seen. And at the bottom of the 10-foot cliff, layers and layers and layers deep down in the earth, buffalo bones still lie along with cultural artifacts. So people would have set up quite complex camps at the bottom of the cliffs and used those camps to butcher the buffalo so that all the different parts could be used for clothes, meat, tools and homes. This hunting technique, it really did use the entire community and was spiritually meaningful as well as physically useful. The head smashed in buffalo jump doesn't show any signs of buffalo hunting after 1850. Why is that? Well, Europeans had landed in America and General Sherman was in charge of basically getting the plains people off their land. But it proved difficult. So his thinking was, well, if you get rid of the buffalo, then the people will go too. Sherman wrote to his friend, I think it would be wise to invite all the sportsmen of England and America there this fall for a grand buffalo hunt and make one great sweep of them all. Until the buffalo and consequently Indians are out, we will have trouble. So the hunters came, and this was seen as a good thing. They were sponsored by the military, and the buffalo numbers started to fall. And then the great railroad that they were building was completed across the plains, and things got 10 times worse because it disrupted the migration of the buffalo. But also this became a very popular sport, apparently, was that the trains would deliberately slow down when they got to the buffalo herds, and people would stand on top of the trains shooting at the buffalo, and then you wouldn't even have to touch them or see them again afterwards. They would just lie there as you drove away cheering. By 1900, the number of buffalo had dramatically fallen. In fact, Texas did notice that the buffalo numbers were falling and tried to say, look, we should protect them. But apparently Sherman said, no, this is all part of the plan to get rid of the people who are living on the plains and have been for thousands of years. So by 1900, the number of buffalo had fallen from about 30 million to less than 600. Native Americans who survived this period, and not many did, were forced to live on pieces of land called reservations. They were forced often or extremely strongly encouraged to wear different clothes, to be Christian, to work as farmers, even though the men had never been farmers before, and they were often being put on land that wasn't fit for farming. Tribes that were at war with each other were often forced to live in the same place, and keeping their own traditions alive in circumstances like this was almost impossible. So fast forwarding to today, incredibly, the buffalo didn't disappear completely from the American plains. There are about 500,000 buffalo now, but that's a bit deceptive because most of them are farm animals, not wild animals. So they're not free to roam. They don't have the space to migrate like they want to. So people are starting to realise that it's not enough to protect animals. You've got to protect animal behaviour. And who are the people who have now stepped up to protect the buffaloes and their behaviour? It's the First Nations people and the tribes that live on the plains. So reservations do still exist today. And in 2019, over 30 tribes and First Nations signed a treaty, I will show you the news article here, saying that they were going to protect the buffalo and commit to having buffalo on their land. Here we go. Because between them, now they've all got together to do this, they own 6.3 million acres. And a treaty apparently is the traditional ancient way that Plains people made agreements. So they're very serious about this. Leroy Littlebear belongs to the Blood tribe in Alberta in Canada, and he's a university professor, and he says the near extinction of the buffalo left a major gap. The Treaty on Buffalo Restoration aims to begin to fill that gap and once again partner with the buffalo to bring about cultural and ecological balance. The end. Thanks. All right, you lot, come back a bit. Whew. Oh, it's just sad, wasn't it? Important though, important. It was really interesting reading about that. I did my teacher training in Bath or Bath, as we call it up here. If you're ever in Bath, they've got an American museum. And that is where I really first started to kind of learn about how the people who were living in America for thousands of years before Europeans got there, how they were treated. It is fascinating. If you're ever at the American Museum, give it a go. Right, I'm going to go to my Facebook page because that is the end of the migration show, but some of you who are watching live might have left me some comments, I don't know, but we will see. Anyway, thank you so much for coming, you lot. Have fun and be careful playing with your pins and needles if you're going to carry on that activity. See how fast you can get it to spin. If you are supporting me, then your latest Theatre of Science magazine is on the way to your house. It's about sleep, so it's got a gorgeous comic about sleep as usual. It's got I'm going to send you a little bag of lavender and some fabric so that you can sew your own sleep squish that help you sleep at night. If you don't support me and you would like to, then thank you very much for thinking about it, because this is my job. I'm not like funded by anyone except you lot. Enough people have signed up to support me with £5 a month that this is actually my living. If you sign up, it's a very good time because I will send you some rainbow glasses to make you see rainbows. I'll send you an explanation of how they work. I'll send you a past magazine. Oh, brilliant, look at all these comments. Hello, Ryan and Safwan. Hello. Oh, great. Right, sorry, just loading my comments. Yeah, it's a really good time to sign up because you always get sent like the rainbow glasses and a past magazine. But if you sign up now, you'll pretty much straight away get the latest magazine as well. So it's kind of like buy one, get one free. Oh, hello, Laurie. Yeah, you love the woolly mammoth. I know. It took me ages this morning wrapping up these woolly mammoths. If I ever get an actual Lego woolly mammoth, I'm going to be very disappointed because I've got a lot of mileage out of these horses. Hello, Grace and Rose. Hello, Alistair and Alana and Isla. No, it's not Isla at all. Elia. It's Elia, isn't it? I'm so sorry. Elia, if you want to join the hordes of people who are messaging me, like, this is how you say my name, then you can totally feel free, and then I'll remember. But I'm sorry if you got it wrong. And Elena, sorry if I got your name wrong as well. Oh, hello, Eloise and Aaron. Tiger and Bird, there's your comment. Oh, hello, Sam. Good to see you. Hey, it's Lizzie and Alex. Hiya. I birdwatched my neighbour's apple tree with my telescope. Nice. Very nice. Hello, Betty. All right, Laurie. And another comment. Harry says hello to Laurie. He used to attend Beavers with her. Ah, that's nice. Ah, Harry and Laurie having a chat. That's nice. So Harry is here. Hello, Harry. Oh, Hannah's here. Hello, Hannah. You are so welcome. All right, Ava and Will. Hello, Edward and Richard. And Renty Rex. He's really enjoying all the science and the Lego stories. Ah, this is great. We've had like a lot of you are like bothering to find my Facebook page and comment. Thank you. It really does make a difference. It's good for the people who watch on catch up that I've got people watching live, because if there wasn't anyone here, I just don't know. My brain, I couldn't do it. There'd be no reason to keep going. I'd just go, I'll do it later, and then I'd go and have a biscuit, and then it'd be 6 months later and I wouldn't do it and I wouldn't have a job. So thank you if you are watching live. I really need you. Okay. Right, I'm going to go. I'm super organised. This never happens. Next week, I already know what we're doing for Lego Storytime. We're doing a show about eggs. So you can bring with you, if you have eggs, you can bring some crushed up eggshells and a narrow necked bottle and some vinegar. We're going to put a balloon, which will be reusable afterwards, over the bottle and mix the vinegar and we'll talk about what happens. Or you can just bring bicarbonate of soda if you're not an egg person. Our grandparents live in Bath. Oh, you're so lucky. Oh, I love Bath so much. Bath's got the famous house where the Herschels used to live, who built the telescope that discovered Uranus. Oh, it's a great place. It's Rose's birthday tomorrow. Hold the phone, Rose. I nearly left. I'm going to leave now. But Rose, happy birthday. Oh, have a lovely day. Oh, what a lovely time for a birthday. But spring is springing. Okay, right. I am going to go. Thank you so much for coming, you lot. I'll see you very soon. Bye. Happy birthday, Rose.